friends? Welcome to episode number 6 of the Eloquent Savage podcast. I'm here on Facebook Live with my main man, Tony Jeffries, Olympic bronze medalist, trainer to the stars, and yours truly. He beat the shit out of me one time. He hit me so hard that I actually felt it in my asshole. We'll talk about that another time. I got him muted right now because I want to get through this without him jumping in, because I know we're both pretty fucking amped up about this fight coming up on Saturday. But before we roll, Mr. Tony Jeffries, what's up, my man?
Mate, I noticed you said I beat you up one time. I beat you about fucking 10 times. What are you talking about? One time. Come on, I beat you every time. One time.
Okay, so I live by a code. I was beat up multiple times by an Olympic bronze medalist and professional boxers. So I'm okay with that. So, dude, I'm so pumped to have you on here. Like, I feel like there's not many people that are qualified to talk about boxing, and specifically this fight coming up. I know you've been on some really big podcasts and interviews talking about the McGregor versus Mayweather fight, but it's going to be a little different here because we're both a little fucked in the head. So when we roll into this, first off, why don't you just give the people listening an idea of what your background is, how you competed, what the deal is, just so they know that they should listen to you over me for sure.
Yeah. So I boxed at the age of 10 years old. I had 106 fights in my career. I retired when I was 27. 17 years of competitive experience, and I boxed forever. 10 pro fights. I won 7 national titles, a European gold medal. I won Olympic bronze medal, and then undefeated in the 10 pro fights. I had to retire through hand injuries. Then from there, I moved to America and opened up a gym, then another gym as well. When I was training the gyms, I trained UFC fighter Brendan Schaub for his last 3 fights. I trained Ronda Rousey, Dominic Cruz. So I've got the insight in boxing as much as anyone, and I've also got it in the MMA world as well. So, like you said, I think I'm pretty qualified to talk about this fight.
Hell yeah. We don't have subtitles for you guys that don't understand English, but that's all right. So, at the end of the day, guys, here's the reality. Before we even roll into the fight breakdown, I want to give you guys a little insight on this guy as well. Like, I've worked with a lot of different trainers. Tony was by far the best boxing trainer I ever worked with. And he owns a gym called Box and Burn in Santa Monica and Brentwood in LA. And I highly suggest, if you're a coach, trainer, fitness business owner, that you reach out to Tony, get out there, train, and talk to him about his affiliation that's coming soon, because I've been pushing him to affiliate this bad boy, because Box and Burn is no fucking joke. They do very well. They do multiple 7 figures. And we know inside of this game of fitness, business, and business in general, there's not a lot of people that actually do that level and actually do it from a truthful place. So I just want to make sure that you guys watching this, I'm sure there's some business owners in there or just some people in the LA area that are looking for a place to train. And Box and Burn is where I trained the entire time I lived in Santa Monica, and it was an incredible experience for us. So I just want to give Tony a proper shout out inside of his actual training and business acumen, because he's a smart dude, he's sharp, and he's very connected. So make sure you follow him on social media, reach out to him. But let's break this shit down, my friends. So we have, on Saturday, the matchup of all matchups. And I'll go out on a limb and say that this is most likely the biggest combat sporting event of all time. Would you agree with that, Tony?
Yeah, definitely. Well, when it comes to views, I think it's going to be viewed more than any other fight ever in history. So, and the most exciting thing is you've got the biggest star of boxing of all time to the biggest MMA star of all time fighting each other in a fight. Now, it's getting a lot of flack from the boxing community, and the MMA community. But who wouldn't want to see this fight? Who wouldn't want to see it? Do you know what I mean? I think it's great. I love the fight. And I think it's good for boxing as well. You know, people saying it's bad for boxing, but I think it's good for boxing, because let's say if Floyd Mayweather knocks him out in 2 rounds, right? Good for boxing. It's just proved that boxing better than MMA. If Conor knocks Mayweather out, it's good for boxing, because boxing's just got a new star, right? But people say, nah, it's a joke, it's a circus, and all that. Nah, this is a great entertaining fight. And at the end of the day, that's what fighting is. It's entertainment for us. So if you don't think this fight's entertaining, you're a fucking boring bastard. How about that? Right?
I agree 1,000%. Here's the way that I look at the entire process, right? It's like anybody that hates on this is just upset because they're not in the matchup and they're not making the big payday, and Conor slipped in the back door per se, and he's got this massive fight. Now, here's the other crazy piece. you watch these other boxers are now trying to set up that if Conor wins, Paulie Malignaggi is already talking shit. He confronted him earlier today and was talking shit, right? So you can see these guys are basically lining up to the soup kitchen for a big payday. So at the end of the day, the fans are entertained. You're a boxing purist, right? And you've trained MMA fighters too. But at the end of the day, here's the question I have for you, because I want you to break this down for the people listening to this shit. So you've trained an MMA fighter that does, you know, a high-level guy, Brandon Schaub. You've trained with Dominic Cruz, another high-level guy. Ronda Rousey was in her prime, was a fucking wrecking ball. Right now, obviously, there's going to be a difference between the striking and boxing ability of them and a pro boxer that is completely dialed into boxing. But wouldn't you say that if, as Brendan was preparing for MMA, and I'm sure Conor does too, they're training boxing, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're training boxing. Boxing's one of the main disciplines in MMA. You know, I mean, you get a few people who just do jiu-jitsu, and that's their main thing. Who try to do stand-up, but yeah, boxing's a massive part of it. And with Conor's boxing's been a massive part of it as well. What we forgot to mention is every time Conor's in LA, he trains in Box and Burn. So we see him up close and personal. When that video of him going sparring viral with Chris Van Eeden, I was the person that released that video. You know, so I've been up close and personal with Conor, and Conor can really, he can box. You know, he can box. He came in when he sparred with Chris. He wasn't even. He was just coming in for a session. Oh, there's a sparring partner there. Let's do it. And he sparred. Like his mindset is fantastic, and his boxing is better than Brendan Schaub's. It's better than Ronda Rousey's. It's better than Dominic Cruz. His boxing for an MMA fighter is at a really high level. He's probably one of the best strikers in MMA right now. So that's another thing that makes this fight so interesting, you know?
I agree. And I think that the uneducated fan or the common person that's going to watch this, they all say the same shit. Well, what if Conor kicks him? I wonder if he's going to take him down. And it's like, dude, do you not realize how many rounds this guy has put in just in boxing and stand up alone with no feet, no elbows, nothing but just straight hands?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's all he's been working on. So, but as well with the MMA, they're concentrating a lot of the time on jiu-jitsu, on wrestling, on the strength and conditioning. Now he's took them out of the way, and now he's just concentrating on boxing. You know, so that's great. Now, on the other hand, he's coming against Floyd Mayweather, who is, for me, one of, if not the greatest of all time, defensive fighter who's smart, really intelligent in the ring. He's coming towards Floyd, who's done this since he was like 5 years old, you know. So he's been doing it forever. Conor's definitely got the age and the athleticism on Floyd now. But I think these old tricks that Floyd's got, Floyd is a smart bastard at the end of the day. He is. So, I mean, it's a very interesting fight, it really is. And I think that, we're going to talk predictions right now or not?
Dude, I'm just letting you roll, man. This is like, you know, to me, it's listening to a guy like you and having people listen to a guy like you that actually gets this. That's been in the ring. You've been in professional fights. You've been in Olympic and European championships. Like, you have a different insight than everybody else, because we can all sit in, and I've competed in jiu-jitsu, but that's nothing compared to getting in front of a large group of people and they're only watching you fight another dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your insight, to me, carries way more weight than any like person like even me that just sits on the sidelines and go, well, this is what I think is going to happen. So I want you to drop a prediction.
Yeah. So I think what people are not really talking about is body punching. No one's really talking about Mayweather's jab to the body. You've seen Mayweather fight before. He moves around. He's got a fantastic jab to the body. In mixed martial arts, they're not really used to taking body shots. Yeah, there's an odd leg kick that hits the body, or maybe a knee, sometimes a punch. But in boxing, body punching is massive. And boxers are all conditioned to take body punches. Now, I don't know, I mean, you can have the best six-pack in the world, but it doesn't mean you can take a good body shot. It takes a long time to get conditioned that. So I'm kind of edging towards Mayweather is going to stop McGregor in 4 or 5 rounds with a body punch. People say that Mayweather is not a big puncher, and I mean, if you look at Mayweather's last 10, 15 opponents, he's he hasn't stopped anyone, but they've been really high-level opponents, you know. So I think with this, obviously he's a high-level opponent, but he's not a high-level boxing opponent. So I think, yeah, and I hope I'm wrong. I would love to see McGregor knock Mayweather out, spark him straight out. I don't like McGregor. I don't like Mayweather. I think he's a prick. You know, I met him one time after the Olympics. He was Olympic bronze medalist as well, like me. I got invited to go to his gym of someone who I knew in England. I went to his gym. I was so excited for him to come in and meet him. The gym was full. He walked in, he walked around, shook everyone's hand, says hello to them all. And he come to me, he looked me up and down, said, "Who the fuck's this white boy?" I went, "Whoa." And I said, "Oh, I'm Tony, nice to meet you." And someone saw he's an Olympic boxer and all that. I went, "All right, cool." Looked at us like it was a piece of shit and walked away. Ever since then, I've just thought, you prick, and I want him to get beat, you know. Doesn't mean I'm not a fan of his work inside the ring, but when he spoke to me like that, I just thought, nah, dickhead, mate. I was like 23, 24 at the time. So yeah, that's what I think will happen and what I want to happen.
So I was actually at his gym 3 or 4 years ago now. One of my mentors at the time knew his cousin, and we got in, and literally it was kind of a similar experience. There was like, 5 of us dudes, and then all of his entourage, right? But the beauty inside of that is I actually got an insight into his work ethic. So we can talk about him as a person and his attitude, and I'm sure. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him too much. We got a picture, but at the end of the day, I watched this guy train, at least back then, and he was a fucking machine.
Right, yeah.
He was a machine, and he was sparring I think like a junior welterweight, junior middleweight, like contender, and talking massive amounts of shit while sticking his tongue out at us and beating the shit out of this kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know we can't downplay his skills and abilities. Do you think he's taking Conor lightly?
I think he's making people think that he is, so they buy the fight. That's what I mean. He's a smart bastard. If you've watched the All Accesses, he's riding horses, he's on roller skates and all that. There's not much of him training. So it makes us think that, wow, this is giving Conor a chance. I think he's went down to the 8-ounce gloves, So now people are thinking, wow, look at this. Conor's really got a chance. I'm going to buy this fight and see Mayweather get knocked out. But I think he really is working hard. He's too smart not to work hard, and not to be smart. And like you're talking about the work ethic, I've had friends who've sparred with him before or been in the gym when he sparred, and they tell me he does like 5-minute rounds, boxing, sparring, has like 10, 15 seconds break, let's go again. Fresh opponents every time. His work ethic's unbelievable. So is Conor McGregor's. Conor was in the gym, it was a few months ago before this fight got announced, and I was texting his manager and I said, do you think his trainer's not with him, do you think he'll want some pad work? I'll do a kick on the mitts. And his manager said, yeah, ask him. I said, all right. So I went up next to the bags where he was, and he was hitting the bag, and he was doing 5-minute rounds on the bags. So I waited, the round ended, he just kept going, went through the 1-minute break, or 40 seconds break, next round started, I'm like, all right, I'll wait for him, went through again. Mate, he'd done this 4 times, I was there for 20 minutes, he never stopped in the bag, so at the end I left there shit to do, so I couldn't take one of the mitts. But that just showed me that his work ethic as well is unbelievable. Like you kind of would expect for someone at that level, like you would, But yeah, I mean, so all this stuff for Mayweather's going on with doing the rolling skating and not working on it, it just does build the excitement a little bit.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're both businessmen. So you have to sit back and look at the way these guys are promoting the fight and be impressed. There's a lot of people hating on it. Well, I'm not going to watch it. A, you're full of shit. And B, if you can't appreciate what both of these guys have done to actually create a purse of $100 million on the front end, not even counting like any sponsorships or stuff that's going to come off the back end of this thing, like it's fucking amazing. And it's the best job of promotion I've seen inside of fight sports ever. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of been the easiest to promote as well. But McGregor, McGregor is just a master at that stuff. He's even better than Mayweather. I like the way McGregor does it better than Mayweather. The way McGregor does it is because he's funny, he's got that personality. Mayweather just really flashes his cash and he doesn't get beat. But McGregor's got that funny, And as well, McGregor is a great sportsman. You see when he got beat off Nate Diaz,
he went to the post-fight press conference. He held his hands up and he said, "Yeah, he beat me," and I loved that about him. And then he went in with he went into the next fight and beat him. Could have fought at 154, 155, but he's kept that 170. No, he's a great sportsman. I love that about him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, dude, I'm a huge fan of Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, and that second fight was very close, and it was a battle, right? And what I don't think that most people realize is that even though he's an MMA fighter, right? Yes, he's an MMA fighter, which means he is a more complete fighter. At the end of the day, if you put these guys into a cage together and it was no fucking rules, it'd be like Floyd going through a wood chipper. Everybody can agree upon that. Like, dude, it's over.
Yeah,
it's over. Yeah, it would not last very long. But you have to respect both men. And at the end of the day, these guys are putting themselves on the line. And there's a lot of people saying, so I wanted to get your input on this. There's a lot of people saying or implying that this is going to be a thrown fight. It's fixed. That they're going to try to make a rematch out of it. Floyd's going to keep him in the mix just long enough. And I'll give you my input, and then I want to hear your input on it. Like my idea of this is like these guys are prideful and proud human beings. They've worked their ass off to get to this point. What makes anyone think that either one of these guys would be okay taking a loss in this fight?
Right, exactly. I mean, they're getting life-changing money. Life-changing money. Why would they risk trying to do it again? It's not, it's not. It's bullshit. They're going to both go in there and try and hurt the other person, 100%. What's your prediction? You bird mine. Give me yours.
So here, I'll give you the heart, and then I'll give you the mind prediction. Right. I do this all the time, right? My heart says, man, I think McGregor's gonna hurt him in the first 3 rounds and shock the fucking world. That's just because that's what I want to see happen.
Yeah.
But my mind says this: you are fighting a fucking wizard in Floyd Mayweather. You are fighting a guy that fought Canelo Alvarez and beat the brakes off of this kid, and he's murdering everyone else. He fought Andre Berto, fought Maidana. He's fought everyone, Pacquiao. And like people can sit here and say, hey, you know what, he runs all the time? Dude, is there a clause inside of boxing that says you're supposed to get fucking hit in the head? Last time I checked, it's not very good for you. Tony hit me to the body. We're talking body shots. Tony hit me to the body multiple times and laughed at me while I was like bent over in the corner sucking oxygen. At the end of the day, I think that your prediction is probably on point. My heart says, man, I would love to see Conor, shock the world and just turn fight sports on its head. Yeah. But my mind says, hey, the dude is 49-0. He's legitimately 49-0, and he's only been hit. How many times do you think Mayweather's actually been stoned in a fight?
Like 2, maybe 3. I don't know. Not many at all. So I mean, no one can hit him. But the first thing that goes on a fighter is your timing and your reactions. And now he's 40. He's been inactive for a while. That's another little thing there. What's like, what makes us a bit like maybe Conor has got the chance of landing. I don't think it's going to happen. But the first thing that goes on a fighter is that. So,
how do you think if Floyd is gonna handle Conor's unorthodox fighting style?
Just the way that he's handled every other fighter. Like, if you think Floyd made Manny Pacquiao look average, Manny Pacquiao, like 10-time world champion, southpaw, Miguel Cotto, like you said, Canelo. The list goes on in these world-class fighters. He's made look average, And I think every single one of them fighters would have stopped Conor McGregor if they fought them. The likes of Maidana, if you look at even Andre Berto, all of them guys would stop Conor McGregor if they fought him. I hate to say it because I'm a big Conor fan, but realistically, they would have. You know what I mean?
If you look at Mayweather's fights, and I brought this up so that the guys watching this can see it, right? It's like, dude, he fought Oscar De La Hoya. He fought Zab Judah. He fought Ricky Hatton. He fought Victor Ortiz, Miguel Cotto, Guerrero, Canelo, Maidana, Pacquiao, Berto. Like, dude, and you could just keep going. We could just keep going down the list and choose these guys that are, like, unbelievable in that sport. But the one thing that I'll say after watching all of this for a very long time, in MMA, boxing, all of it, is that Conor has something special. I think everybody has to agree on that. That dude brings something special to the cage. I think he's going to bring something special to the ring. And I feel like here's the big if, right? If he can touch Mayweather early, we may see some shit that nobody expects.
I mean, I hope so, but I don't think so. I think so Conor is like known, like I said at the beginning, one of the best strikers in MMA, right? If you put Mayweather's last 20 opponents in with McGregor's last 20 opponents, I guarantee, in a boxing match, I guarantee they would knock all of them out faster, well, maybe not faster than Aldo, but as good as McGregor, right? So if it was a striker match, does this make sense? If it was a striker match, McGregor was in a striker match against any of these, or his opponents was in a striker match against any of his opponents, they'll knock him out. So he's only a good striker. McGregor's only a good striker, only a big power puncher in mixed martial arts. What I'm trying to say is, if all of Mayweather's opponents was boxing in mixed martial arts, they would be the best striker in mixed martial arts. That makes sense, you know?
Yes, you're saying if they were going to cross over to mixed martial arts, they would be looked at as the best striker in MMA.
Yes, exactly. All of his opponents. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know. But
I can do that. Yeah.
I don't think McGregor is an amazing striker for boxing. He is for MMA. So we'll see, you know. And when he fought at the gym here, one thing I was very impressed with was how elusive he was. You know, he'd slip and come back with that counter left hand real fast. You know, so I was impressed with that. And like I said, if I never knew who he was when I walked in the gym and I seen him sparring, I would have thought he was a high-level professional boxer. You know, so he has got skills. He has got skills, but I mean, Mayweather's like different level. But you put the age into factor, like we said, and the first thing that goes is the speed and the timing. So yeah, I mean, it makes it really interesting. That's why it's so entertaining.
I get it. Let's have a real conversation about, okay, you have money to put down. Like, we can talk about our predictions. You're going to put money on the fight. Who would you put your money on?
I've already got my money on the fight. I've got a bet on with Brendan Sharp. I've got $2 with him that it doesn't go the distance. I think Mayweather's going to stop him. And I was watching. Who would you put your money on?
I'm going to throw some money on McGregor just for shits and giggles.
You want to just give it to me instead? Give it to me. I'll have it. No, but I mean, it's worth the bet. It makes it more interesting. I would love to put a bet on Mayweather to knock him out in 1 round or 2 rounds, you know, because people see he's not a puncher. Mayweather said he's going to go forward. Obviously, Conor's never been in with a striker like Mayweather, and he's going to get his head punched in. I was watching video highlights of Conor McGregor MMA fights. He's got his chin up in the air. And he gets hit. He gets hit. When he landed that punch on Jose Aldo, he was getting punched at the same time. Obviously, his punch was harder. If Aldo can land a punch, Mayweather's going to smash him out of hand. So, honestly, I would put money on Mayweather to knock him out in 1 or 2 rounds, just for shits and giggles. But there's also that could happen, you know. But my prediction is round 4, round 5. The body shot.
And he stops him. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first, Facebook Live. Oh, yes, my friends. That guy right there. Let me get my finger on him. Tony Jeffries. Handsome Tony.
Yes, that's me.
He said Mayweather with the body shot KO. 4th or 5th round?
4th or 5th round. 4th or 5th round. Possibly.
Man. If that happens, I'll be surprised. My prediction on the fight. I'm gonna give you the real prediction. I'm gonna give you the real breakdown.
Well,
my breakdown is this: I think that Floyd is gonna have a slow start, but I think he's just going to do what he always does and piece Conor up for 12 rounds. I think he's just gonna win rounds. I think Conor will win a couple rounds in the beginning, but I think. In a 12-round fight, I think it's going to go the distance, and Mayweather will win a decision.
How do you think Conor's going to win a round?
I think he'll win a very early round, and I think he's going to bully him.
Who's Conor ever really bullied with his hands? I mean, he put that front foot pressure on, but I don't see how he can win a round. I really don't. I don't.
You don't think he's gonna win? You don't think he's gonna win one round?
Not one round. Definitely not. I will be. If he wins one round, fucking, he's won. You know. If he goes the distance, he's won.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Floyd has a 53% like KO rate, right? So he's actually KO'd more than he's not. So when people say that he hasn't, yeah, he's not Mike Tyson. He's not Mike Tyson. But I think that there's a possibility there, but I don't know, man. Maybe it's the legend of Mystic Mac that makes me believe that I don't know. There's a part of me that goes, I don't think Mayweather can hurt him.
It's because he's got that image and he's a tough bastard. But you know, anyone getting popped in the face with them 8-ounce gloves as well. We talked about the 8-ounce gloves. That's doing. I mean, Mayweather's had most of his fights in the 8-ounce gloves, so that's an advantage for Mayweather just as much as McGregor. No?
Yeah, yeah, and I do believe that they've done a great job in getting people to believe that McGregor may have a bigger chance than he does because the betting lines were so enormous. And now,
wow.
if you notice, the betting lines have gotten way tighter. So it started out at like a 1,500, like for Mayweather. Like he was favored by like 1,500 to 1, and now it's down to like plus 350 or minus 350. So the betting lines you can see, like I wonder. I don't know if you're really into following this stuff, but I wonder if the lines are being manipulated a little bit by the way that they're promoting it, so that the bookies don't take such an ass whooping. If by some chance McGregor fucking ices this guy,
right? What's the odds for Mayweather to knock him out? Any idea on that?
Let's look it up.
Because I mean, it is better for the bookies. Well, it's better for people betting on it because then they're going to get better odds with these little gloves and all that.
Let's see. These are shitty odds. It figures it takes me to a UK paper. What the fuck? I believe right now, Floyd Mayweather by knockout or TKO or DQ is minus 125.
So what's that if you put $100 on?
So look at it in terms of this. Like to make 125, you would have to bet. I forget how this works, but you'd have to bet more to make your money back. So the chances of you losing are greater than you winning. Make sense?
Right. Yeah. For a reason. Yeah, I mean, I really can't wait for it. It's for the last 6 weeks. That's all that people's been talking about. It's come around fast, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Normally, you feel like you're waiting a long time for fights, but this has come around fast. And the people who I feel sorry for the most is Canelo and Triple G.
I was just going to bring that up. Because that was the super fight until this thing got brought up, and then they obviously did it on purpose to put it in front of that fight.
Yeah.
While I got you on here, we might as well just chat about that real quick. The real fight fans are going to want to know. So we got Triple G and Canelo.
Yeah.
What do you got in that
fight? Great fight. You know what? I've always said Triple G, and I've always had money. I've got a $300 bet with one of my friends that if they ever fight, Triple G will win. But now watching Canelo's last performances, they've been flawless, absolutely flawless. You know he's going to be a hard man to beat. And then obviously we've seen Triple G's last fight, but he fought at Southpaw. Can't remember his name. Fought the Southpaw, Bartwood style, and he didn't look great. But you know, I mean, again, if I had to bet money, I would bet Canelo. I want Triple G to win. He is another one who trains in Boxing Burn Gym when he's in town. So and he's a great guy. I would love to see Triple G win, but I think Canelo's going to edge it. What do you think on that one?
I think I would have to put more time into breaking the fight down, to be honest with you. I mean, I really have to put some time in before I took a stab at that. I think Canelo is a power puncher. Triple G is fast and picks guys apart. He's tough. I don't know, man. To me, that fight right now is a toss-up. And the crazy part is, because of this other fight, I haven't even had a chance to really think about that, on top of all the UFC fights coming up, which, you know, I'm a massive MMA fan, so, you know, breaking down those fights, looking at those, going to those. I was actually at the John Jones DC fight, and now here we go again.
Right.
Here we go again. Now, obviously, Jones' camp is saying that he's been framed and all this crazy shit, and because he got popped for what's called Tyrannoball. Now, Tyrannoball, what's crazy is Tyrannoball was developed by I believe the West German Olympic team back in the day when they were dominating everyone. That's what they were taking. So Tyrannoball is a steroid. It's an oral steroid. You take it. It comes in the tab form. And if you look this up, the breakdown of what it does for you is it makes you stronger, faster, more explosive, more athletic, like recover faster. It's insane. Jones' camp argument is that why would he take it in between the pre-bout testing and post-bout testing for the bout? That's
right.
the argument. That's the argument right now. What do you think about this?
I mean, so why would he take it in the first place? If the test is positive for it, so he's obviously took it, why would he take anything that might affect them, you know? No, like I said, I competed for years and years. I would never take a thing with these random blood tests, or I would never take anything anyway. But especially at his level, when he's been done for it before, he needs to be, every single thing he puts in his mouth, he needs to be checking. Even if he's drinking a bottle of water, it needs to be a sealed cap. So for him, it's just too much of a coincidence for John Jones to get caught with that, you know. And I really feel sorry for DC. I'm a big DC fan, and I really feel sorry for him. I really do. John Jones is a piece of shit. Like I said on Facebook, I think he's a piece of shit. If this shit's true, you know, I don't know enough about it, but yeah, I think it's terrible, mate. I think it's terrible. He's finished now.
When I step back from it, I almost look at it a couple different ways, right? I'm very disappointed because obviously that dude is one of the most talented fighters on the planet. Could be the greatest MMA fighter of all time. There's obviously something going on with him mentally. So the coach in me goes like, what would possess a human being that is that skilled, has a Nike contract, the only MMA fighter to ever get a Nike contract?
Right.
To be that addicted to self-sabotage where you do that. Then you get dinged for a boner pill, which who knows if that was the true case of that or not. Then come all the way back from this shit. Fight. Win by a nasty head kick knockout over a really tough dude that was beating up heavyweights in MMA.
Yeah.
Only to, in between your pre-fight test and post, to eat some Tyrannoball tablets. If it's true, the way I look at this, Tony, is like there's obviously something mentally wrong with this guy because there's no other reason why you would even chance it or take a risk of it.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And now he's been done now. I bet he's on suicide watch now because I bet his head's fucking battered. You know, I bet it's battered.
Well, it'll be if this is true, he gets a 4-year suspension minimum. He's 30 years old right now. That means from 30 to 34 years old, there will be no fighting. His prime.
Yeah.
In his career, it becomes tainted across the board because then what's going to happen is everybody's going to go, well, what about his fight with Gustafsson? What if he was on something then and the testing wasn't as stringent or like dialed in? What if he was on shit his whole career? Right?
Yeah.
And he was dominating people? That's what those guys are going to say.
Yeah. He's ruined his legacy, really, hasn't he? You know, and I've never really liked John Jones because of the way he's outside of the cage. But after his fight with Daniel Cormier, that post-fight interview, that really made me change the way I thought, and I was like, respect John Jones. That was great. He couldn't have said anything better to win me over like that. And then that's just went, you know.
Yeah.
He's messed up big time. He's messed up big time.
Tony, what do you feel about like PEDs in sports like this, right? Like, so I feel like there's this weird thing that we want our fighters to show up like these perfect gentlemen, yet we like to watch them beat the living shit out of each other for sport, right? So I know that you were a pure competitor. You didn't take shit, like, and I'm sure you have a very like decisive opinion about this stuff. But how do you feel about this?
I think like if you've been caught once, you should be banned for life. I'm really against it because this sport, boxing, MMA, you can really hurt someone and kill someone, damage someone. You know, it was like when, what's his face, Brock Lesnar fought Mark Hunt when he was roided up there. That was terrible. He could have put him in hospital and killed him. And if he did that, he should have been getting done for murder or manslaughter or some shit. No, I think once they've done that once, that's it. That's the career over. You get one chance at it. But I can see on the other side where they're like, well, if it was a dick pill, you know, should you get banned from this sport forever? Like, obviously not. But if you're finding out that someone's took performance-enhancing drugs, I think that's it. You should be over. What do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I think, well, here's the way I look at it, right? Like, if you're being dishonest about it, then your opponent doesn't know that you have an advantage.
Right.
So I look back at the old Pride days, Pride Fighting Championships. Back then, it was the Wild West. Everybody was on that shit. Actually, that promotion, it was, word is, I don't want anybody coming after me, but word is the Pride Fighting was run by the Yakuza, right, the Japanese mafia. So they just let the fighters take whatever they wanted. They actually encouraged it from what I've heard and read about and watched videos on from the fighters that competed over there. In that case, you already know you may be walking into Vanderlei Silva when he was like the fucking real axe murderer. Like, that dude was just mowing people down. You know, the soccer kicks were allowed. It was just the Wild West. But if we're going to compare this to 2017, in a sport where Dirk, what's his name? The guy that runs the USADA testing, who was the one that found Lance Armstrong. I almost said Dirk Nowitzki, the basketball player. It's another guy. But, I mean, that's why I wonder if he's got, like, he needs to talk to somebody with some serious mental help, because you know you're going to get caught now.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I think so. I think he's definitely got something wrong with him up there if he's doing this shit, you know. Is it confidence? I mean, you're a head coach. Is it a confidence thing where he feels like maybe he has had it all of his life? He's like, shit, maybe if I just take this new one that someone's in his ear saying you'll not get caught with this one, you know, maybe he needs it for his. That's another thing it might be.
There was a wrestler, a famous wrestler named Dan Gable, and what he would always say is like, I don't, you know, when guys have to take shit like that to compete, he actually loved to compete against them because he knew that they weren't as mentally strong as him.
Right.
Because they felt like they needed an edge. So I think there's a million different ways you can look at it. At the end of the day, it is illegal. And if guys are taking that shit, it's only a matter of time before they figure out a way to catch the new designer shit that they're taking to give themselves an edge. You know, I think it's rampant in baseball. It's rampant in American football. It's rampant in MMA, I'm sure. Which is why we're seeing all of a sudden guys that used to be completely shredded and jacked all of a sudden show up a little differently now that the testing is tougher. Right.
Bigfoot Silva was one, was that right? Yeah. Where he was like knocked out, didn't he? And then over him as well. He used to be shredded. But I mean, he's doing well now, isn't he?
They called him Uberine because he was so big. He was massive. Dude, here's the crazy part. Alistair Overeem competed against Chuck Liddell in Pride way back in the day at 205. Fast forward like 4 years later, and he's weighing in at 265 pounds, just under the heavyweight limit. All muscle, shredded.
Wow.
It's insane.
I never knew that.
It's insane. So let's end on this conversation that we already got our predictions inside of the Mayweather-McGregor, but I got you on here, so I love talking about this shit. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the conversation inside of CTE, brain damage, inside of these sports, because you brought up Bigfoot, and you bring up a great point, because here's the crazy shit. Now that Mayweather-McGregor happens, all these other sideshow bouts are popping up. So Rico Verhoeven, who's the Glory kickboxing champion, 248-pound fucking machine from Holland, destroyer. They're putting Bigfoot Silva in a kickboxing match against him. Bigfoot Silva is 1-8 in his last fights with 7 KOs. He's been KO'd 7 times. And they're letting him fight this dude who is a young lion, like straight murderer. Now, we know inside of American football that they did a test, and 99% of the athletes they tested is experiencing some form of CTE, which we know affects guys in horrible ways. It makes them violent. It makes them, volatile. What's your take on this? You've been in the ring. You've taken headshots. Like, I'm just curious on what you think.
You know what, mate? Right? Really, I don't know how boxing or MMA is legal. right? And someone posted a highlight video on Instagram the other day of knockouts of like the 10 best knockouts, and people just getting put to sleep. And I commented saying, "How the hell is boxing still legal after this?" You know, it's something that I've researched a lot about and thought a lot about CTE, because I've had 106. I had 106 fights in my career, and I think I've never told you this before, but I've done the maths. And if I got punched in the head 7 times in one of them fights, and as well if I fought, I think it was 10 times for each one of them fights, 6 rounds. I've done the maths anyway, and for each one of them rounds I got punched 7 times, I've been punched in the head over 50,000 times. 50,000 times, and I was a good boxer, you know. So give or take a couple of thousand, but still, obviously it's done damage. And I know that I would be a lot smarter. But I think if I had never been punched in the head, you know, I do like stupid shit, like, I don't know, I'm not going to give you some examples, but I know that boxing has affected my mind, and it's scary. I went to the Cleveland Clinic in Las Vegas last year to get some brain tests. The test fighters, MMA fighters and boxers, and they try to do a study to find out about CTE and find out more about it. And after the test, they do balance tests, speech tests, all sorts of stuff. They said that at the time I was 31, they said for a 31-year-old you come back average, which I was really happy about. But then he called us 2 weeks after and he said, "Tony, we found a big split in your membrane. The membrane is what attaches your brain to your skull." And I was like, "Whoa." And he said, "What's happened? You've been punched. Your brain's rattled around your skull that much. Your membrane split, and there's no recovery for that." He said, "There's no evidence that this can affect you in everyday life, but you've got a very large split there right now." And he said, like, most fighters get that. Obviously, I think, like I said, there's no proof, but obviously that's done damage, right? If you could prefer to, you've been punched 50,000 times, not being punched 50,000 times, who's the smartest? You know? It's funny, because I feel like I'm at the stage where I'm not punch drunk, that I don't get it. I'm still smart enough that I get that it's done damage. We had a trainer that used to work for us, and he was in some wars, former world champion, beast, and he had over 200 fights. I remember I'd done the maths about this, getting punched in the head. I was like, shit. And he's, like I said, he had 12-round wars. So I went out and I went, "Listen, mate, I've just done the maths. After 106 fights, I've been punched in the head this many times." And he went, "Whoa." He says, "Imagine how many times I've been punched in the head. I've had 250 fights. And I went, "Whoa." I says, "Do you think it's affected you?" He went, "Nah, it's made me smarter." So I'm like, fucking hell, 100% is he punch drunk. Do you know what I mean? He thought that being punched in the head probably made him smarter. That's how fucking punch drunk he was. You know, so I'm glad that I'm at the stage where I realise, and if there's anything I can do to help it, I'm doing that, like talking with the likes of Ben Greenfield or Marcus, friends of mine who helps us with shit, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think CTE is a big problem, but there's not much you can do apart from ban the sport.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me personally, I played football for the majority of my adolescent young life, and I have at least 4 concussions that I know of for sure that I had.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that there's all these sports that we get involved in as young men, and we don't really think about the long-term effects, right? It's like, this is fun, so I'll play. And in your case, you went very far with it. For me, I never even made it through college ball. I just quit because I had enough. But you know, you went to the professional level, which is incredible. But at the end of the day, there's nobody to say like, "Hey, Tony, you might want to rethink this shit," because when you're 35 years old, you don't know what the fuck you're gonna feel like. And like these guys that are the MMA that are getting head kicked, knocked out, you know, and there's this argument that, well, MMA is better than boxing because in MMA, if you get hurt, the guy jumps on you and finishes the fight there, but you're still getting fucking knocked out.
Yeah, it's still not good, is it? It's still not good. So them numbers that I told you, the 55,000 times, by the time I was 12, I'd worked out and I'd been punched in the head like 3,000 times. A 12-year-old kid being punched in the head 3,000 times. It's not good. It's not. And like you said, like with the MMA, the boxing, it's vicious shit, you know. And you've been concussed 4 times. I've been concussed about 7 times. It's a horrible feeling, and That's why I've got this fucking big split in my mind. But I'm one of the 0.01% of fighters that come away from the sport and do something. I got the Olympics. I turned professional. I got a nice lump of money. I invested well in their properties. Opened the gym. People don't do that. People don't go to the Olympics normally. The term pro, when the boxers, the term pro, let's say, the box from the 10 years old to the 20, the term pro when they're 20, they retire when they're 26, 27. They've never put any money away. They're not that smart. Most fighters don't make much money fighting. Maybe between $1 grand and $5 grand a fight. And then they finish boxing at 27, and then I was like, now what? No, now what? Like I was like that, now what? But obviously I've got other investments and I've got a smart business mind. And then they end up going working in a call center or a business on a building site doing something shit. And then if the CTE kicks in as well on a lot of fighters, which it does, the dementia, and then they start getting depressed, start drinking, start fucking up, you know? And we see it often, or we don't see it as often as it really happens, because I know that shit really happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a crazy sport, but I love it. So at the end of the day...
All right. I know. Being punched in the head fucking 55,000 times, I'm punched drunk as fuck, but I don't regret it. I would do it all again.
Listen, I'll take a punch in the head over you hitting me in the body. But I say that because you've never punched me in the head. So,
yeah,
dude,
true.
Great breakdown. This has been a blast. This has been what I want to do, and just so the guys watching the replay of this, is that we're going to bring Tony on anytime there's a big fight. Because there's nobody better for me that I know of, and I know a lot of fucking people. I think this guy breaks down the fight, specifically inside of boxing, better than anybody. So, plus he's a good friend of mine. I like him. He's pretty handsome, even though he got punched in the head 55,000 times. Still looking pretty fucking good. Tony, any finishing thoughts or anything you've already made your prediction, so we kind of blew our load early. Nothing new there. But.
People just want to. The haters on this fight, they're probably not listening. They've probably turned us off by now if there were haters in the fight. But you know, if you know any haters of this fight, just tell them relax. It's happening. Stop hating it. Be positive. Steve, I know you're all about positivity. People just need to be positive about what's happening with this fight, because it's happening. Enjoy it. I will. Not you will, Steve.
Hell yeah. Dude, thank you for coming on, guys. That's episode number motherfucking 6 of the Eloquent Savage podcast with my special guest and fight commentator extraordinaire, Tony, punched in the head 55,000 times, Jeffries, but he's still handsome. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I appreciate you right here. Oh, yeah, Tony Jeffries. What the fuck, son? That shit was fun. Let me finish this thing. That was fun, dude. What I want to do, though, and next time, I want to come out there, and we'll get the real setup. Get the real setup up?
Yeah. Yeah, use my guy if you want it, or use whoever you want. But, yeah, that was a lot.
Fucking blast. What will be a fucking blast? When is that Triple G fight, do you know?
September 20th or something, I think. No, yeah.
I gotta look up where I'm gonna be at. It'll be a fucking blast to do like almost like a fight companion type of thing.
Well, mate, I'm going up I'm going to Seattle.
Oh yeah, I'll be there for that too.
If it's before then, maybe we can do it up then. Let me see what it is. September 16th.
16th.
Yeah.
16th. Because dude, I think you ever listen to the to like the Joe Rogan podcast when they do the fight companions?
Yeah, the fight breakdown.
I think it would be a fucking blast to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, get together and watch the fights and like drink some fucking beers and just act fucking dumb and like have people tune into that. You know, I have some pretty big plans for this podcast. It's gonna be fun, dude. I gotta like get all the professional shit together. But I just wanted to do this to get you on. I thought it was fucking fun as hell.
Yeah. When are they gonna release it? It's gonna be on iTunes.
Yeah. We just got approved.
Nice. Yeah, it's gonna be out before the fight, obviously, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna try to get it out immediately. I don't know, this fucking GoToWebinar is bugging right now though, so hopefully the recording didn't get fucked up. That would suck.
Get out before our chat. I'll share it as well. I've been barred off Facebook for 3 days this morning because I posted a live video of a boxing burn class. Someone in the class must have reported it, and I've been barred.
Did it have music in it?
I mean, it was just in the class, so I'm sure it did, but it couldn't have barred us for that.
That's why. If you have music playing in the background and it's not yours, they'll warn you once, and then if you do it again, game over.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So when I get back on, I'll share this. But me, that was good. That was a good episode. That I've done lots of podcasts. That was really good. It was fun. We went.
Oh, dude, it's gonna get way better. But that was fun for me just to like have you break shit down. I think it'll be fun to have you on every once in a while because I want you to come on also and talk about. We'll bring you on a couple times because I want you to talk about your business too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know I still have a pretty big following of coaches and like PTs and people that where you can actually benefit from them hearing about this shit.
Right.
Specifically when you finally launch your affiliate program, Wiener.
Definitely.
Right,
get the gyms. Go on, mate.
I know you got to get out of here, dude. So I appreciate it, man. And I'm going to hit you up. I'm going to try to get out there soon, that weekend of the 9th, I think. And I want to do some training with you if you got free time.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Sounds
All right,
good.
brother. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, dude. See you, mate. Bye.